Hey guys, so I haven't done a video in a while. Friday I was too tired, and then it was the weekend, and then yesterday was a very interesting day for me. Let's say 5 o'clock in the morning, I woke up with severe pains, and I didn't know what was going on, so I asked Michael to take me to the hospital, and so we went, and actually we hadn't even gone to bed at that point, so I hadn't gotten any sleep, and it was bad. Um, so we went to the hospital, and they're like, well, what it sounds like you're describing is ligament pain, but we'll watch you for a while and see if it gets worse or better. And I was like, okay. And they hooked me up to a machine that monitors the baby's heartbeat and monitors the activity of your uterus or whatever. And they're like, you are contracting a little bit, so we're going to put you on some fluids and, everything will be alright. And I'm like, ugh. And they basically told us if we hadn't come in, I would have been a mom yesterday. Which was really bad. So they let me go around 11 o'clock yesterday afternoon, morning. And it was... I was mostly just tired. I want to get home in my own bed so I can sleep. So I can be comfortable. And they tried to put an IV in my right arm first, and it didn't work. So they had to put the IV in my left arm. They did it, I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a mark, right there. Right there on my wrist. Yeah, you can't really see it, but, it hurt like hell. I'm like, this is what an epidural is gonna feel like, but bigger. The needle is gonna be bigger, and if you move, even one little bit, I thought the contractions would be worse than, getting an IV put in. And last time I had an IV put in my hand, this is technically, they were wrist. They weren't even arm. They were wrist IVs. Yeah, they were really painful. It really fucking hurt. I don't know. It was just bad. So yeah, yesterday I was almost a mom, so yay. Yeah, but anyways, today, oh god. Let's count down number 14. And the first story is from scoopwhoop.com, and the second story is from jezbel.com. We finally finished all of the stories on the Scoop Whoop website. God, I cannot think today. Today is not a good day. Anyways, his story is called "A Message from Your Personal Demons" by MRGRAM. You see, some people in the world are destined for greatness, destined to live happy, fulfilling lives. You, I'm afraid, aren't one of those people. And it's our job to make sure of that. Who are we? Oh yes, of course. How rude of me. Allow me to introduce myself. Shame is my younger brother, the demon on your left shoulder. Shame tells you that you're a freak, but those thoughts that you have aren't normal, that you'll never fit in. Shame whispered into your ear when you... What? Shame whispered into your ear when your mother found you playing with yourself as a child. Oh, God. Shame is the one who makes you hate yourself. Fear sits on your right shoulder. He is my older brother, as old as life itself. Fear fills every dark corner with monsters, turns every stranger on a dark street into a murderer. Fear stops you from telling your crush how you feel. He tells you it's better not to try than let people see you fail. Fear makes you build your own prison. Who am I then? I am the worst of your demons, but you see me as a friend. You turn to me when you have nothing else, because I live in your heart. I am the one that forces you to endure, the one who prolongs your torment. Sincerely, Hope. Sleep well. I like this story because it's true. We all have shame and fear and hope inside of us. And we always think hope is like the best thing in the world, and it's not. It really is your enemy, kind of. Like, you always read, like, the Hunger Games, and, like, those people had hope, and then, you know, they wound up winning. Which, in that case, it was great to have hope. But you read other stories where they have hope, and they wind up dying, or not, you know. All this bad stuff happens, and hope turns out to be the enemy. And anyways, let's continue on to the next. This story is called This Is Maria by Library Anne again. I don't know what it says. Anyways, continue on. My husband and I live in a small, unincorporated town on the outskirts of a bigger city. Although we're 50 years old, we're 30 to 40 years younger than any of our neat neighbors. Most of them have grandchildren who visit regularly and drive them wherever they need to go. Not so far for the man I usually just call a professor. His wife Elena died 12 years ago. I only know her briefly, but she and the professor were one of the most life goals kind of couple. I loved spending time with them. They were both so erudite and witty, and clearly still deeply in love. Elena's passing hit her husband hard. For the last year, he's been battling cancer. With no bus service in our rural area and cabs from town and an expensive long wait, I ended up driving him to the doctor's. The professor had been in the U.S. since his 20s, but he still retained a charming foreign accent. My name he pronounced as Awen. Usually when he phoned me, he would say, "Good afternoon, Awen." Sometimes he would call in the wee hours of the morning in pain, able only to gasp, "Awen." I would drop the phone and run to his house to help him with his meds or take him to the emergency room. He was adamant about not staying away from home. He knew the end was near and he wanted to go in his own bed. On October 1st, my dad's birthday, at almost 4 a.m., my cell rang showing the professor's number. When I answered, a strange voice asked, "Awen?" "Yes," I answered. "Professor?" "No," the voice giggled. "This is Maria. I'm taking him tonight." Then I woke up. I was sitting up in bed, my phone in my hand. My husband and our dog were sleeping soundly, so the phone hadn't really rung, or had it. I started to call the professor, but if he was managing to sleep, I didn't want to disturb him. So I got up and dressed, and the dog and I slipped outside. I could see the professor's house from there. No lights were on, and everything was quiet. I wasn't comfortable, though, so I went ahead and dialed. 25 rings, no answer. Damn. I knew then. I went back in and woke my husband. We walked to the house and knocked. Nothing. We had to phone the sheriff. They broke in. The professor had died peacefully in bed. Because of our unincorporated location, any of the chores which would fall to professionals in an urban area are taken up by neighbors here. So that evening, with deputy supervision, the families on our block began to sort through the professor's papers. We needed the deed to his burial plot and any kind of will or link to distant relatives. I looked through a small scrapbook of old photos that was on his nightstand. There was no cousin Marco from the old country or nephew Bob, NYC 1997. It was mostly pictures of Elena and the professor, and their never spoken of young daughter Maria, who had died in... I don't know what that says. In Oklahoma in 1971. So, the second story is kind of creepy because, like, if you ever lose a child, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna make you a little bit woo in the head, and just... If you watched Annabelle 2, the origin story or whatever, you know what I'm talking about with going woo after your child dies. Because basically the point of that story was they wanted their daughter back, and so they called upon some kind of entity to bring back their daughter. And it was a demon, and it looked like their daughter, but it wasn't their daughter, and then finally it showed its true self and actually injured the mom. And it was actually a really creepy movie. I went and saw it in theaters with Michael, and yeah, it was scary. I freaked out a lot. But anyways, excuse me. So, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I will get back to you guys tomorrow. Bye.